You know, I look like I'm here to interrupt a comedy show to get my daughter. So Deborah, if you're here, Mom's worried sick. We got a pope from Chicago. We got a pope. Isn't that cool? I know. You know, he's like, hey, dear God, if you could just give up some prayers there to the kiddies, every Bobby and Billy and Susie there, that'd be great. A couple, 2 treat days a week, you know, maybe on Thursdays we could have a little prayer thing. I don't know. Thank you. Thank you. No, stop. Anybody else here gain 40 to 50 pounds over the holidays? Like I did? Sucks, man. I've been trying to lose weight. I've been trying to do keto. Keto is Latin for diarrhea all day. It sucks I don't diet well. I've been doing intermittent feasting. It's awesome. You can eat whatever you want, whenever you want, you know? My doctor was like, you gotta lose weight. I'm like, I need another doctor. Fuck you, you know? He's like, you should try a Fitbit. I'm like, that sounds made up. That doesn't sound. He's like, get a smartwatch. So I did. I got one of these stupid ass things. You guys have one of these smartwatch things? They become your, like, unappreciative asshole dad, these things. Because my watch is like, time to stand up. It's like, fuck you, Dad. Time to stand up and do something with your life. You know, I stand up and my watch is like, good job. I'm like, no, it's sarcastic. That's awesome. You know, I don't know, man. I like to eat. I like to have fun. I like nachos. You guys like nachos? Nachos are the best goddamn food. Nachos are the best, man. You ever go out to eat with some friends and you gotta like, you know, like, I will eat nachos all day long, and I go out with some people that like eat slow, you know, like maybe you or some shit. Like you just smell it. You're like, first I'm gonna smell this nacho, you know, or some shit. You gotta match their like how fast that you gotta match their nacho per hour, you know. You gotta pretend you're like, I'm not gonna really eat that much. Look, a fire, ah! You know, just causing diversion so you can eat all the fucking nachos. You know, and I was having fun. I was eating some nachos at a sports bar, you know, and then my watch said, are you swimming? You know, and I was like, swimming for sour cream. Hell yeah. Anyone else here getting older? That sucks, right? Oh, I get out of bed, I feel like I've been in a car accident for some reason. All I did was lay there for 8 hours. I get up and I just like, oh, well, I got mugged, I think. My best friend was like, hey, Paco, can I have my birthday party at your house? And I said, sure. He just turned 50. And he said, can we get a stripper? And I was like, no, don't they come over at like midnight? I'm not getting up to answer the door at midnight. I like to party, but this thing's wrapped up by 9:30 tops. Are you kidding me? I'll have a couple shots of tequila, maybe hit that fucking bong once, okay? I gotta work in the morning, Jesus Christ. You know, and like, I couldn't talk to a 22-year-old girl when I was 22. You know, like, the difference between my age and a stripper's age is her age. It's not gonna, like, she's gonna walk in and be like, no cap, but you're bussin' mid, sus, and I'm like, shut up, Cinnamon, just come in. What the hell does that mean? And what are we gonna do with a stripper? Just give her advice? I don't know, you know? It's like, did you bring a coat? You look cold, is that all you're wearing? Jesus, you're trying to date. I go out, you know, I live in San Francisco and go out with girls where they're like, what's your sign? And I'm like, I don't know about that. I grew up in Michigan, you know, we didn't have crystals. We had crystal meth, but we didn't have, you know, I grew up in the redneck racist area of Michigan called Michigan. Like, we didn't have, it's like, what's your sign? I'm like, I don't know, like Mercury's in Gatorade, I think something's happening. It's all made up. Have you ever read your horoscope? You have, like probably today, a couple times. Horoscopes are so general. Horoscopes are like, tomorrow's gonna be another day and you're gonna do something. You're like, fuck! That is so Aquarius, you know? So here's the thing, if you go on a date with somebody, you want to know something about them, don't ask them what their sign is. Ask them where they are in the birth order of their family. That will tell you more about anybody than any other. If you go on a date, you say, where are you in birth order of the family? They say, I'm the oldest. Run. Run. The oldest child sucks. The oldest child was the only child for a while, so they still think they're the golden child. They're always just reporting for duty with mom and dad, you know, always helping them move, you know. The oldest kid has a 501c3 or a nonprofit or some shit. They're always Captain America's. Anybody here the oldest child? Yeah, see this oldest kid energy? Look at you guys are in the front, like, do you guys need us to move tables after the show? Or can we clean up? If mom and dad's not here, you don't have to do anything, you bastards. But if you go on a date and you say, where are you in the birth order of the family? And they say, I'm the middle kid, red flag factories. The middle kids, they always have nosebleeds for some reason. Have you ever met a middle kid? They always have like tuberculosis. They're always like shivering in the corner. No one knows their name, you know? Like Billy, Bobby, Susie. Like, those are my cousin's name, you know? They always need ambulances. Anybody here a middle kid? Oh, look how quiet the middle kids are. She's like, you're not gonna see me. It doesn't matter. Middle kids over there by the exits in case they have to get to a hospital. But if you go on a date or something, say, where are you in the birth order family? And they say, I'm the youngest child. Exactly. Serial killers. They're all fucking serial killers. Did you feel that energy? She was about to kick me off this fucking stage. She's like, I got a song. Let me sing you a song. They're all like, I am the best thing that's ever been created. Talk about main character bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Basically, if the oldest is reporting for duty and the youngest was, or the middle one's just shivering, the youngest is just setting fires and walking away from that shit. That's how that works. Man, trying to date though, man, it's hard out there for a pimp. You know, I'm on the apps. I'm on Fumble or Crumble or Bumble. I've been on Unhinged, I think. You know, I was dating this girl. She was like 12 years younger than me, and we were sexting, which you guys are like, oh, he looks like he could sext really well. I can't. I know, it's a big surprise. But she was younger than me, and her thumbs still work, you know? And she was just like sexting and just like manifestos, you know? I'm trying to answer things that happened like 15 minutes ago. You know that thing where you're like, slow down! I haven't answered that yet, you know? And then she'd send me emojis that I would just get confused about. Like, I feel like you should be able to push down an emoji and have it get bigger so you know what you're dealing with, you know? She would send me, I'm like, what the fuck is that? I said, is that an octopus flying through the air? And she's like, no, it's someone putting nail polish on. I'm like, how is that possible? She sent me horsehead diamond pineapple once. I'm like, what is that? Are we breaking up? Is that dinner? Is that anal? What are we? So I just go to the classics, you know? I gotta turn my stupid watch off. Shut up, Dad. So I just go to the classics. I'm just like, eggplant. Peach. I don't even know what those are, you know? I have an idea what the eggplant is, but is the peach is the butt, or is that the vajuju, or is that the balapa? What is the peach? Is the butt? Oh shit, okay, I'll eat that shit. I was always, so what's the vajaja, the blah blah, the vajuju? Taco? The fuck is wrong with you? Taco? Man, eating you out would be all salty and shit. Be like, I need some hot sauce in this pussy. Alright. I guess we are in California. Instead of the eggplant, it should be burrito, you know? That is funny shit, man. I'm up here sweating like a jazz singer. Jesus Christ. I see trees of green. Red rose. Oh man, yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. I was dating this girl Greta for a while. She's cool. She's German, so our safe word was Volkswagen. She said, "Talk dirty to me." So I said, "I want to see your papers." She's cool. She's big. I like big girls. You know, I like big girls. I've been with, yeah, hell yeah, big girl. Shoot. Okay, you got that lung strength. Okay. I've been with... That's an awesome laugh, man. That's awesome. I've been with petite women. They just tap out when we have sex like it's a wrestling match, you know? Greta's big. She's 6 foot, 200 pounds. The Niners are taking a look at her. She's cool. She's cool. She's into true crime. You guys know about true crime? Yeah, see, women love true crime. Do you see what she did? She's like, I just solved a Sacramento Strangler last week. Women love true crime, man. Greta doesn't play. She has a t-shirt that says True Crime, Red Wine, and Bed by 9. This girl, she loves it so much. We have this funeral parlor across from my house here in San Francisco. Once in a while when they have a funeral, we'll go over there and cosplay a little bit, you know? Put on like a suit. And is that the light? Or is that, okay. So, yeah. It's like, okay, thank you. And I was like, I did that with my mind. We go over there and we just cosplay and we look around and she'd say, we'd say things like, it just doesn't add up, I want to tell you a quick story. I did this show at Outside Lands a few years ago. I'm an actor. I do a lot of acting stuff. But the thing is, when you do acting stuff, a lot of times your agent doesn't tell you what it's about. They'll just say it pays $400. You're like, fuck, book it. It's $400. So I went there and they said, wear your nice clothes. And I said, okay. And I get to the door, the side door. I knock on the door, and this big bitchy gay guy was like, where's your nice clothes? I'm like, I'm wearing it. He's like, ugh. I'm like, oh, this isn't going well already. Then he puts me in the green room, and this little girl lady PA comes in, personal assistant, and she said, I guess I have to buy you nice clothes. What size shirt do you wear? And I said, 2X. And she's like, oh, like I was going to die soon, And then they said, come to the stage and rehearse because he's here. I'm like, who's he? And they're like, he's here. And I was like, okay. And I said, I don't know what I'm here for. And they said, we need someone who's funny, who can host, and who's fat. And I was like, well, I'm one of those things. I don't know. So I get there, and they're like, why don't you just dance? We'll just have you dance. And I was like, that sounds horrible. And they're like, just dance for 10 minutes. I'm like, have you ever danced for 10 minutes? That's like a workout, You don't look like this because you work out. So I was like, and then, it was like a big jazz band on stage was playing. And then, they're like, dance. I heard this voice playing the dance, So I was like, doing whatever I could do to do this. And then they said, he's here. And I was like, oh, he's here. And I looked in the wings, and out of the wings came this guy who's like 5'2" and 140 pounds. He's wearing a powder blue tuxedo. And I say, look, it's Tony Danza, right? So Tony Danza gets on the stage, and he's singing these jazz standards with the jazz band. He doesn't look at me or anything. And they basically go, dance with Tony, like, dance, So Tony comes on, he's like, 3, 2, 1. He's like, come fly with me. He's like singing, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I literally have no idea what to do. And then I'm dancing and he's singing and I'm kind of feeling myself. And I'm a comedian, so I get a little closer to Tony, And I'm dancing and then I hit him with my hip and he goes flying through the air and then lands with a thud on the stage. Boom. And then the voice way in the back goes, oh no. And Tony's laying there. And I walked over to him and have you ever said the funniest thing you've ever said at the worst possible time? That's what happened to me. I walked over there and I put my hand out to pick him up and I said, who's the boss now, Tony? Who's the boss? Thank you guys. Have a good night. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate you.